What if I told you that she may never say it out loud, but her behavior is already confessing everything? You've gone quiet. Maybe you walked away. Maybe she pushed you to. Either way, she told you it's over, or acted like she doesn't care, but something doesn't sit right. You feel her energy lingering, and her actions, they don't match her words. Here's what most men miss. Women often express desire not through direct confession, but through subtle disruption, the shift in tone, the sudden reappearance. The questions were masked as small talk. She's not asking to come back, she's testing if she can, psychologically. This is where attraction hides, in hesitation, in guilt, in curiosity. Her pride won't let her say, "I want you again." But her unconscious keeps slipping the truth. The human mind cannot fake emotional leakage forever. It shows in where her eyes rest, in the texts she sends, in the way she reacts when she hears your name. This video isn't about giving you false hope. It's about helping you read what's real, so you don't miss what's obvious. Just because it's unspoken, if you're ready to see what she won't say, hit like, subscribe, and comment below. I see through silence. Let's begin. Number 1. When her compliment is a test, not a confession. She says it with a soft smile, almost casually. You've changed. In a good way, on the surface. It sounds like admiration, a sign that she sees your growth, that your presence now carries more gravity, more calm, more weight. But look deeper, and you'll feel the undercurrent. This isn't just praise, it's a probe. She's watching, noticing, testing. This phrase is rarely just about your haircut or posture or new routine. It's about energy. What she's really saying is, you're not as accessible as before. You're not reacting the same. You're more composed. Do you still have space for me? And behind that subtle line is a deeper question. Do I still matter to you now that you're stronger? To a Stoic, this is a sacred moment, not for reconnection, but for restraint. Your transformation wasn't for her, it was for you. And now that it's starting to show through your presence, your silence, your boundaries must resist the temptation to soften. Don't let a sweet phrase reopen old patterns. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not fitting for the soul to waste time in guesswork. Her compliment may be genuine, or it may be a test, but you don't need to figure it out. You only need to remain unchanged by it. The moment you respond with eagerness, really, you noticed, you shift back into the frame of seeking. But when you accept the compliment with calm gratitude, not craving, you send a stronger signal. Yes, I've changed, and no, I don't need your validation to stay this way. Practically, this means responding with grounded neutrality, a simple nod, a half smile, a change of subject. Let her curiosity grow in the space you don't fill. Because what you've built in solitude must now be guarded in interaction, psychologically. This flips the power dynamic. You're no longer trying to impress her. She's starting to reevaluate you. She feels the shift. You're no longer emotionally available on command. You're present, but not pliable. And that tension, that quiet mystery, it pulls her in deeper than charm ever could. This is the paradox. The more stable you become, the more unpredictable you feel, because calm men are rare. And rare men are remembered. If you've ever smiled at a compliment without needing to chase its meaning, write this below. Her praise didn't move me because peace built in silence doesn't beg to be noticed. Number 2, when nostalgia becomes her way of knocking. She sends a message out of nowhere. Do you remember that night we got caught in the rain? Or maybe it's, I passed by that restaurant. Made me think of you. At first glance. It seems innocent, just a shared memory. A gentle reach into the past. but underneath, it's far more calculated. She's testing emotional terrain without stepping into commitment. This is the language of longing wrapped in safety. She doesn't have to say she misses you. She lets the memory speak, because if you start reminiscing too much. Chasing that warmth, you'll step back into the emotional haze she's not yet ready to claim. That's where most men slip. Nostalgia is seductive. It paints the past in soft focus. It makes you forget the pain, the silence, the reasons you left. But a Stoic doesn't let memory rewrite reality. Seneca taught, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And nowhere is that truer than in the rose-tinted flashbacks of old love. Her message is not the problem. It's your interpretation of it. She's not offering reconciliation. She's offering recognition. She wants to see if your heart still lives in those old scenes, and if it does. She knows she still has influence, but when you respond without being pulled, when you remember. But don't regress, you shift the dynamic. You prove that the memory lives in you, but no longer leads you. That you've honored it, but outgrown it. You don't chase the old story. You write new pages. This isn't about coldness. It's about clarity. You can smile at the memory, even say, "Yeah, I remember it was a wild night." But don't dig deeper. Don't ask her if she misses it. Don't reignite what was. Let the memory fade with grace. Not grasping. Practically. This means resisting the urge to open emotional doors just because they creak. You don't owe her more than presence. You don't need to correct the past. You only need to remain rooted in the man you've become, not the one she once left, psychologically. This unsettles her in the best way. You're no longer a time capsule she can open when the present feels lonely. You're a mirror now, reflecting that while the past was real, the man standing here is depitatif, evolved, grounded, and that's what draws her in, not your willingness to relive, but your refusal to be rewritten. If you've ever smiled at the past without stepping back into it, write it below. I remember it, but I no longer live there. Number 3. When a dream becomes her excuse to reconnect. It usually begins in a quiet message. "I had a dream about you." 4 words wrapped in subtle tension. It sounds innocent, like a fleeting thought shared late at night. But to a disciplined mind, it's never just about a dream. It's a signal, a knock on a closed door, soft enough to deny, but heavy enough to provoke. She's not just telling you about her subconscious, she's watching your response. Will you lean in? Will you ask what it meant? Will you open the gate? She's too cautious to walk through by herself, because the dream isn't about sleep, it's about space. Are you still emotionally available, or have you truly moved on? This is where a Stoic must stay rooted. The dream is not the message, the reaction is. And if you let it pull you, it means your center is still outside of you. You're still measuring your growth by how often she remembers you, not how little it changes you. Epictetus warned us, when someone irritates you, it is not their fault but yours, for you've given them the power to affect you. The same principle applies here. If 4 words from her can reopen wounds or tempt old patterns, the work isn't done. Her message is not your invitation, it's your mirror. So, how should you respond? With presence, not performance. You can acknowledge the message. You don't have to ignore it. A simple, "Funny how dreams work," is enough. But don't chase interpretation. Don't ask, "Was it good?" Or, "Do you think it means something?" That's her territory to enter, not yours to clear. Because if the dream truly mattered, she'd follow it with intention, action, clarity. But if she leaves it hanging, that tells you all you need to know. It wasn't a confession, it was a curiosity trap, a way to feel your warmth without offering her own. The moment you resist the bait, something shifts. She starts to realize the man who once would have spiraled into speculation is no longer standing there. The version of you she visited in sleep has been replaced by someone far less reachable but far more real. Psychologically, you become the mystery she can't decode, not because you're distant, but because you're no longer emotionally predictable. And that, more than anything, is what lingers after dreams fade. If you've ever chosen calm over curiosity when they pulled at you softly, speak it now. Even in her dreams, I stay grounded in my reality. Number 4. When she can't believe you're okay without her. She doesn't say it in anger. She says it in disbelief. I can't believe you're fine without me. It slips out with a nervous laugh, or is buried beneath sarcasm, but the truth behind it is clear. She expected you to fall, to reach out, to unravel just enough so she could still feel needed. And now, you're calm, grounded, moving forward with quiet confidence, and that shakes her more than any argument ever could. This statement isn't about your well-being, it's about her power. Once, she could measure her significance by your responses. A delayed reply from her meant tension for you. A cold shoulder triggered pursuit. But now you've changed the equation. You no longer react to absence with anxiety. You respond with presence to yourself. That's what unsettles her, because she's not used to men who grow stronger when left alone. A Stoic man doesn't find strength in validation. He finds it in self-governance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. You stopped estimating her absence as a loss. You started treating it as space to rebuild, to recenter, to rise. Her disbelief is a test, not of your love, but of your discipline. If you stumble now, if you soften, explain, confess, you give her back the control she lost. But when you meet her confusion with stillness, you hold the frame. Here's the shift. You don't prove that you're fine. You live it. Your peace becomes the quiet rebellion against emotional dependency. You don't rub your growth in her face. You simply let it reflect, like standing in front of a former mirror. Only now it shows a different man, unbothered, unbound. In practice, this means not just looking fine, but being fine. Not faking stoicism, but embodying it. You don't share what you've become, you are it. That's what causes the real disruption. Because when she realizes her absence didn't define your days, she's left to wonder, what filled the space where I once was? And that question, it echoes, psychologically. Her comment reveals her attachment, not yours. You've become a living contradiction to her assumptions. And contradictions create obsession, because what the mind can't control, it can't stop thinking about. So, let her question hang in the air. You don't need to answer. Your life already has. If you've ever held your peace when they questioned your silence, speak it now. I didn't heal to prove anything, I healed because it was mine to do. Number 5. When her soft words are a door left half open. It's not a declaration. It's not even a request, just a line dropped quietly. Lately, I've been thinking about you. No expectation, no follow-up, no pressure. And yet, everything about it feels heavy, purposeful. She's watching what you'll do with it, whether you'll lean in, stay still, or reach for something that's no longer solid. This isn't a confession. It's a test wrapped in softness. What she's really saying is, I miss how it felt when I had a place in your life. I wonder if I still do. And she's leaving it just vague enough that if you don't respond, she won't feel rejected. But if you do respond with interest, she knows the door is still open and you'll be the one walking through it first. A Stoic sees this for what it is, emotional ambiguity. And ambiguity is where attachment thrives. That's why Epictetus warned, don't let the force of an impression carry you away. Because when someone gives you half of a feeling, it's your own mind that fills in the rest. And if you're not grounded, You'll build a fantasy from fragments. So, how do you respond? With clarity, not curiosity. You don't mirror her vagueness. You don't ask, "What were you thinking about?" That only reopens emotional loops. Instead, you stay composed. You can acknowledge the message. "I hope those thoughts were peaceful." And move forward. No emotional hooks. No subtle reachbacks. Just a calm response that says, "I'm not chasing the ghost of what we were." Because the truth is, anyone who's truly thinking of you consistently shows up, not through scattered lines or emotional breadcrumbs, but through action, presence, intention, and unless she brings those to the table, it's not your job to interpret shadow signals. Psychologically, this shifts the dynamic. You become the man who doesn't nibble at emotional bait. The one who isn't stirred by soft words unless they're backed by clarity, and that standard, that boundary. It creates gravity, not because you're unavailable, but because you're unwilling to regress. Let her feel the difference. The version of you she once knew would have jumped at that line. But you've outgrown subtle hooks. Your piece is too expensive to trade for a maybe. If you've ever resisted the pull of vague affection, write it below. Soft words don't move me. Only clarity does. Number 6. When she says no one sees her like you did. She drops it like a truth she didn't mean to admit. No one understands me like you did. It sounds like a compliment, a rare acknowledgement, the kind of line that reaches deep into the part of you that once felt responsible for her heart. And for a moment, you might feel it, that warmth, that old sense of purpose. But pause. This isn't about you. It's about her loneliness. She's reaching back not because she wants to return, but because she wants to remember who she was when she was seen. And you were the mirror, the man who saw the fractures beneath the strength, who listened without fixing, who stayed present when she pushed. Now, in the absence of that space, she's realizing how rare it truly was. But here's the Stoic truth. Recognition is not responsibility. Just because you once gave her safety doesn't mean you're obligated to step back into the role, especially if she's not offering presence in return. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And if you let her words repaint the past in softer hues, you might forget why you had to walk away. This phrase is a test, not of your love, but of your boundary. She's checking to see if you still feel like her emotional home. If you'll reopen the door out of guilt or memory, or that subtle desire to feel irreplaceable. But growth means honoring what you were without falling back into it. You can acknowledge her words. You can even appreciate them, but you don't need to offer comfort. You don't need to say, "I still understand you." That's not your place anymore. Your role in her life ended when she stopped protecting the space you created. The man she misses isn't yours to resurrect. He evolved. And unless she rises too, there's no meeting point, psychologically. This puts the pressure back where it belongs, not on you to rekindle, but on her to realize emotional depth is not something you casually revisit. It's something you show up for, daily, fully. And if she's not ready for that, then the memory is hers to keep, not yours to carry. If you've ever heard those words and let them pass without attachment, write this below. I saw her once, but I won't be her mirror forever. Number 7. When her goodbye hides a question. She says it with soft finality. I hope you're happy. At first, it sounds like closure. A mature farewell, something someone says when they've accepted the past and wish you well. But under that calm tone, there's often something else at test, a flicker of doubt, a hidden wound. Because what she's really asking is, are you truly happy without me? This isn't a blessing, it's a probe. She wants to see if her absence still echoes in your life. If There's a trace of regret in your silence. If your growth was real, or if it was